Hello and welcome to this Acromag Incorporated webinar. My name is Rich, your host from IHS GlobalSpec. I'd like to review a few housekeeping items with you before we begin. Let's just take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the operation of the user interface for today's webinar. Now, the large window with the heading Acromag Incorporated Presentation in the upper left, that's the primary window for today's webinar. You should be seeing the welcome slide there right now. Just to the right of that main presentation window is the speaker's bio window with background information on today's presenter, Russ. Now just below that you'll see a Q&A window, and at any time during the presentation you can enter a question into the box in the lower section of the window and click Submit. Your question will then be placed in the queue for Russ to address when we get to that Q&A session. Now looking to the bottom of your screen you'll see several buttons. The first three either minimize or restore the three windows we've already talked about. The others will allow you to share this webinar with colleagues, contact us, access presentation resources, visit our website, and lastly do a little troubleshooting like running the system test or consulting the FAQ document. Now the button second from the right is the volume control for your webinar. If you can't remember what a particular button does, just hover your mouse pointer over it and a tooltip will appear with a description of that button's function. And now to get this webinar started, here's Acromag's International Sales Director, Russ. Russ?
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Russ. Today's webinar is going to be about an exciting product platform that we're pleased to announce. It's actually first for us here at Acromag. We've been a leader in I/O products, and when we combined forces with Embedded that we acquired about a year ago, it's given us a unique opportunity now to come up with a complete product platform based on Common Express. So we're going to spend some time and go through the different pieces available on that. What we see here is the Common Express Modularity taking it to the next level with this offering. And the product platform includes a couple key pieces, and it's not just the CPU board, but we do have the XCOM 6400 CPU available in i5, i7, and we'll get into greater detail on that. We have the carrier cards, which is a unique piece to the offering here. An engineering design kit that's actually a piece of hardware. It's a separate board. And also production front I/O panels and a front panel power filter that, because the carriers are offered in a 10 to 36 volt capability, not everybody may have clean enough power for that, so we've offered an option to take care of that for you. Platform really provides you modularity of solution design, okay? Again, not just a CPU, it's got carriers, different options in the carriers, not just a standard piece, and also provides you some I/O flexibility, having some PMC, XMC, mini PCIe I/O expansion that gives you, the customer, full configuration control for the end solution. And again, designed with a modular field repair and or retrofits, that flexibility for a solution combination. Optimization design effort. Once you modularize the I/O, you can, say, create an FPGA application with the hardware and software, then that can be ported from one application to the other. All right, so the first piece we want to talk about today is the CPU. It's obviously the heart of most systems, so our offering here uses the fourth generation of the Haswell Intel processor. So you get the latest, greatest graphics capabilities, for example, power consumption offering from Intel. We've got a 1.6 gigahertz dual-core i5, which is a lower power option, and then you of course got a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core i7, which is the high performance side of the offering. Like I mentioned, the enhanced graphics being incorporated instead of having a separate support chip, it's actually built into the silicon. You're looking at, in some cases, better than 2 times the graphics processing speed. Lower power consumption is also a great advantage in moving to the Haswell. They've implemented quite a bit of controls within the processor to reduce the power consumption in some cases by 20 to 40%. The offering of our CPU itself, you'll see that there are several pieces here. We have induction cooled. The unit does come standard with the aluminum induction cooling pieces. We have an optional lab development heat sink with fan, if that's a scenario that you feel you might need. And also, it is a Type 6 Com Express module, and it's around the basic format. So it's a 95 by 125 millimeter. And again, the units they're a double thickness on the PC board. Everything is done from our design standpoint to get you into that mill aero ruggedized environment. So these are not commercial boards. They're designed to take the tough stuff. So one unique feature that we have on the CPU board, besides the pieces that I've mentioned, is that we looked at this and determined that because memory is the number one failure on the Com Express boards, in most cases you look at offerings for industrial or heavy ruggedized applications, they typically solder them in place. We came up with and developed and have tested a fastening and fixturing mechanism that's shown here. Actually, these SODIMs, they come in pairs, the way the boards are configured. So whether you've got 4, 8, or 16 gig of memory, and it is ECC, they come in pairs. So the first SODIM stick, if you will, is going to get installed with sill plates into the first socket, and then there is a clamp down plate. Again, aluminum conduction cooling, part of the whole design. This will clamp down through 4 screws underneath the CPU board, holding the first piece in place. The second piece is then inserted into their respective socket, and then there's a top plate, similar to the bottom one, that gets fastened down from 4 screws from above. So the combination of these 2 plates with the sill insulation material on the SODIMs provides a mechanism to hold these pieces in place, as well as if they were soldered, only they are now replaceable should they fail. So this gives you not only an option to repair a board in the field, but also if you have an application where you're currently running 4 gig of RAM and you need 16, that also can be done at a field level. We move on to the next segment of the platform offering, and this is the carriers. We have, as you can see, there's 3 flavors here listed, the 4605, 4610, and 4620. What we're showing here is the 4620, and this is the largest one. It has 2 PMC XMC expansion sites, and specifically there, we have all the connections available for either a PMC or an XMC to go into that location. So there's no need from a customer standpoint to order either a PMC or XMC version. You're going to get the capabilities on the board for either. All 3 versions of this board, we have the 4605 as a single size carrier, which is essentially eliminating the small connector area here. It does have 2 mini PCIe slots on it, so there is expansion even on the base smallest version of the board. Then, of course, we have that same size carrier card offering with a single PMC XMC site, as well as the 2 mini PCIes. And then, of course, the board that we're showing here in the picture, and we'll have a couple other illustrations, but this is the dual PMC XMC, and it also has it as well has too many PCIe slots. So what we've seen and what we've talked with potential customers here already is that the mini PCIe's are great. There's a tremendous amount of offerings there through different companies. But there are SATA drives, there are SSDs, there are serial communications cards, there are Wi-Fi cards, there's 1553, 429, a variety of expansion capability just in the two mini PCIe's. We, of course, offer a plethora of I/O, analog, digital, serial combo cards through the PMC XMC offerings that we have. Part of the carrier assembly, one of the things that we've done, I'm going to back up a slide here. You can see there's three. The power supply section here, we're actually taking and bringing in a 10 to 32 volt DC input, and we're doing all the regulation on the carrier card itself. So an application none of our applications or none of the applications using this platform will require a separate brick type power supply. If you've got say a 28 volt supply and a flight application, if it's clean power, bring it straight into the board. If it's not clean power, like I said, we have a power supply filter to offer for that. Another key feature on the carrier is all the rear I/O that we offer that's available on the PMC or XMC sites is brought out to that front C-Ray connector here in either the single or dual. And the carriers are designed to function between -40 and +85 C in operational mode. As I mentioned, all carriers offer the dual mini PCIe sites. You get a single or dual. And again, the reason for us coming out with this is to give you another piece of the building block rather than just sell join the fray of offering a CPU board in a ComExpress Type 6 application. We're giving you the capability to put together a solution off the bench and then taking it into production as quickly as possible. Next up on the carriers, I want to bring up a key piece to our strategy here in offering you a total platform solution. We've got multi-pin C-Ray connectors. Okay, if you look at this dual board, you can see one large, I think it's a 400 pin, and then a additional 200 pin connector. And these they take guide pins, and they're designed for industrial rugged applications. So all these carriers, all three versions of the carriers use the C-Ray connector. We have optional conduction cooling frames and rails available. The CPU, as I mentioned before, does come in only one way with the cooling plate, the conduction cooling. We feel it's critical. But then again, the rails here for the carriers all stack and join off the CPU to have a good thermal conduction capability to pull the heat, starting from the Intel piece all the way out off the board. And again, these are stock pieces. We're offering these off the shelf. Our distributors will be they'll be readily available from our distributors worldwide. So these three are just the beginning. If we find that there are additional configurations, we'll look at those, and more than likely, I would say within the next 6 to 12 months, we'll probably have additional offerings in the carrier area. Okay, moving forward, the third of the four pieces, and actually I think this is one of my favorites, the engineering design kit is what I call the developer's friend. This gives you all the peripheral I/O connectors from the CPU. So, and it accommodates also, you can see two, there's a space in the center of the board. Here and here, you can install two SSD devices for program storage. So what this board, the purpose of this board is, and I'll go to the next slide, is to interconnect with the carrier card over here and the CPU, resident CPU, and whatever I/O you have on it. This interconnects to that, and then it gives you all your power connections, SATA ports. You have PMC, the PMC XMC sites 1 and 2, depending on the configuration of the carrier board that you're using. This EDK, Engineering Design Board, has all the outputs for that. So this board is primarily designed to interface into the carrier, sit on your lab application, table, or wherever you deem it necessary. But this gives you all your video ports, audio ports, serial SATA, like I said, LAN ports. Your real world interconnect to the i7 or i5 in your I/O. Okay, so this is we'll go one step further. This interface is, like I said, directly the off-shelf carrier cards via the C-Ray connector. So you can see the interconnect here. And this entire unit is available with the EDK, the steel plate, and 2 fans. The purpose of the fans is to blow air onto whatever PMC or XMC you may have on the flip side of these carriers. In some cases, we've actually tested this with 2 Vertex 6s, and the fans are extremely beneficial. They're very simple, but they flow air over a non-conduction cooled application. So this gives you the whole development system here for your project to do whatever you need to do. Put your software on it, get it going, develop, test it all out. As the fourth piece of the offering, when your prototype development is complete, we are going to be offering production I/O front panels. You can see here again, we've used the dual carrier. I've got some mini PCIEs on the 2 sites here. I've got a PMC, XMC I/O card plugged in. And what I've done here is we've removed the EDK from the front piece of the carrier off the C-Ray cards, installed using the same C-Ray connections, our front I/O production panel, and this by installing this on there and removing the EDK, your unit is now live with the 38 399 connectors in the front, and you're ready to install into the final enclosure. We'll have I believe there's going to be 2 versions of the 38 399 front panels. One will be for the single no slot or single slot, and then there'll be one for the double. One of the key features of the front I/O, again, all that rear I/O from your PMC XMC sites is routed to, like I said, slot 1 goes to connector B, and slot 2 will go to connector C. These are 38 399 connectors, and it will be CO2 IP67 specifications. From the connector standpoint, obviously, at this situation that we have here, if you bought this from us, it would be the end user's responsibility to ensure that the IP67 is carried out in the enclosure. Here we have the front panel power filter. It actually snaps in. There are 2 connectors in the back side of the I/O panel, and this fastens in, screws down, runs off standoff. It's a mil-spec power filter. You can see the specifications we have here. It provides all the required filtering. You bring in 10 to 32 volts, bring it in through the front panel, goes through the power filter, goes back into the carrier board. It's all taken care of for you. Then you're assured, so if there's any questions with regard to the integrity of the power that you're bringing in, the filter will take care of any issues there. So what I'd like to do is summarize here, again mentioning that this is designed for mil-aero, I say mil-aero defense applications, extremely rugged. situations where you've got to know that this thing is going to function 24/7, 365 in the nastiest environments around. It incorporates a true conduction cooling. Like I mentioned earlier, we start from the processor right off the I-5 or I-7. We're drawing heat, pulling it out of there, transferring it into this situation here, running out to the outside rails of the carrier, and then into your enclosure. It is based on the 4th gen Haswell Intel processor, so you're starting with this platform, latest greatest. No need to worry about stepping back and then having to go out and redo that. So the other function with the no solder memory mounting and Type 6 high-speed interface puts you as fast a scenario as current a scenario as you can get. Another feature of this platform is the component modularity, not only with the carriers but also with the I/O. It offers you optimal configurations for whatever your project requirements are. Standard off-the-shelf carriers. Again, here's a situation where if you've been using ComExpress, using a development board, putting a CPU on there, you're ending up having to develop a custom carrier. And like it or not, this is going to eliminate 3 to 6 months of development time. If you can use one of these 3 carriers, thousands of dollars of NRE, not only on the front end, but also after you've completed this project, and let's say in 18 months down the road, whatever that time frame is, you need another 6 to 12 pieces. You're going to incur a premium on those carriers because of the design being limited to that specific application. So when you can use an off-the-shelf carrier that we're putting out with this platform, it's going to save you quite a bit of money. In time, with it being readily available. They're suitable for new projects as well as, like we just discussed, creating backplane replacements, lower cost, smaller footprint, less power consumption, a win-win situation. All the units that we're talking about here in the webinar feature Acromag's 2-year warranty. Any of the boards, obviously the I/O cards that you would add to that from Acromag, 2-year warranty as well. Our ComExpress product platform. Again, we're excited to offer you the opportunity to go quickly from lab development to production with a truly flexible hardware platform using off-the-shelf components. Lots of opportunities. We're very excited and we're very thrilled to be putting this out there for you. We think it's going to be beneficial, and we're looking forward to working with everybody here to enhance this product platform as we go along. In the second quarter of this year, the natural evolution of this we're working on is based on the 2 carriers that we talked about, or the 3 carriers, 2 sizes of carrier cards. We will actually have the enclosures for a total solution offering there. It will have a double wide. It will be approximately 8 by 8.3 and about 3.2 high. And then again, the smaller unit will be 8 by just under 5.5 by 3.2 high as well. If you have any questions or need additional information, if you're a customer of ours in the States and you know who your Acromag representative is, your manufacturer's rep, feel free to contact them. If you're an international customer and you're working with one of our distributors, you know who they are, feel free to contact them. If you're not sure and you need information or you have other questions, fire it off to us here. You can call us at 248-295-0310, and of course that's a +1 on the international side. Or drop us an email, solutions@acromag.com, and we'll be happy to turn around some responses for you and get you whatever questions you have answered or information that you requested.
Okay, we're going to take a look at some questions right now, and the first question is, what operating systems are supported with this product platform. And currently we have Linux support, and we are offering also Windows 7 support. Second question, how do you handle I/O from the expansion site or sites? From the carrier, we run the rear I/O pins from each site and route them up to the 400 or 200 pin Samtec connector. Then those are wired up to our front panels, and so those I/O lines are routed up through the respective 38999 connectors for routing to the outside world. When will these products be available is another question. The XCOM 6400 CPUs are currently available now. The remaining boards will be, they can be ordered now, and there's about a 4 to 6 week delivery after we receive your order. Follow-up question, what is the maximum power consumption available on the carriers? On the single wide carrier, it's rated at approximately 120 watts total capacity, and on the double wide carrier, that's rated at about 150 watts. And I have one final question. What if I only want to use your carrier? If you want to use our carrier, in the manual will be the pinout information along with the mating connector part numbers. We are currently also testing ComExpress CPUs for compatibility. If you have a specific CPU in mind, you can contact us at the factory for compatibility of that exact model, and we'll be able to confirm that with you.
This concludes our webinar. Russ, Director of International Sales at Acromag, thank you for spending some time with all of us today. And thank you to all of our audience members for being part of this webinar event. To find out more information regarding ComExpress solutions, please visit Acromag's solution page. And as always, feel free to call or email us with any questions or applications. Our contact information is on your screen right now. And you will be receiving an email from us with a link to the on-demand version of this presentation, a PDF of this PowerPoint, and frequently asked questions document and a question and answer transcript. Again, thank you for taking the time to learn more about ComExpress solutions and how Acromag's solution will get you quickly from lab development to production. Thank you.